So this is a question for Rochelle. Who would you most like to collaborate with?
Matthew Good. I think he's a fantastic songwriter. And I love his voice.
You know, Matthew Good's someone who I'd love to have him produce a record for us.
That would be really
That
good
would
too.
actually be really cool. I bet you he'd have some interesting takes on stuff.
Yeah, that's how the whole, like... Because in our brand of music, having somebody featured on a song isn't really that big of a deal.
Yeah, it's a
unless it's like a vocal thing,
or we get like Slash to play a guitar solo.
Yeah, yeah,
or something like that.
Something like that. But like to have somebody be like involved in like
the production,
like have Matthew Good like help us write a song or something like that, or like produce an album or a song or whatever.
Well, so like what we've done with Rob. Rob's a bass player for the Honeymoon Suite and Platinum Blonde, right? And he's involved in the production process.
Less than we would have initially liked, but...
Well, again, we're in the COVID world.
Yeah.
Hopefully, at some point in the future.
Like, I would love to just even open up for him, like, just anything.
Matthew, I would love to open up for Matthew Good, but I don't think that'll ever happen stylistically.
Yeah.
No.
We're the wrong kind of music.
Yeah.
Right?
That's like, I'd love to open for Metallica, but I don't think that'll probably ever happen.
That's more likely.
That's more likely, but...
Yeah, it depends on how good Boneyard does. If Boneyard turns into the world's biggest thing, we become a metal band and off we go.
We just switch gears completely.
Hey, there are worse things that could happen.
That is true.
You could get stuck into being a polka band.
Yeah. This is a message for John.
Ooh.
So the question is, what is one message you'd like to give your fans?
Never be afraid to try. Never be afraid to explore your ideas. Never be afraid to look silly. And if, don't be afraid to take chances on yourself or the things you do. Oh, and always just... Most importantly, I would say, anytime you are performing, whether it's in front of 2 people or 2,000 people, you give every person who came to see you the best show you can, whether you're opening act, midway through, top of the card, headliner, whatever. If people go to see you and people, pay money to support you, you owe it to yourself to give them the absolute best you can. If you're feeling crappy and everything like that and you're in a mood, people didn't pay to see you in a mood.
That's true.
People paid to get a show, get some entertainment, and get their thoughts away from all of the stress and problems of their daily life. So, being a rock singer is not just, it's not just a roller coaster ride and girls and rock and roll. You're there to entertain people.
Especially in the real world.
Especially in the real world.
It is no longer.
It's not anything like that. Yeah.
Yeah. No. And be ready to temper your expectations of what the day-to-day is going to be like. And know you want to do it. Know you want to do the thing you're doing before you put your energies towards it. I think that's kind of some of my general advice.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, biggest challenges we've had as a band. I mean, okay, so COVID's obviously a good answer.
COVID's a given.
COVID's kind of a given. I mean, there's always challenges. Certainly, an odd one, especially for people over listening in the UK and stuff, is being taken seriously within our own musical community has been an interesting journey.
Yeah, the Nova Scotia music climate is
strange. Yeah.
It is
cliquey.
Yeah.
A lot of people end up leaving.
Yeah, most people end up leaving. Most people that really are from Nova Scotia and make traction leave because, well, especially as a rock band, there isn't a huge rock community in Nova Scotia. It's mostly
a lot of folk,
Celtic stuff, and
singer-songwriter.
That's also where the money is in this region as well.
Absolutely.
And there are some people who are just like, oh, that music makes money, so I'm going to play that, and if that's what you want to do, whatever. But, yeah, where most people sit in those two kind of groups, and then they group up hard.
Yeah. And if you're not in the circle, then you're outside the circle.
And it's hard.
And we spent most of our career just outside the circle doing our own thing. And it's only really recently that some of the people who've, the naysayers or even trolls or haters or whatever you want to call them have started coming around and being like, oh, well, probably twofold. First off, they probably clued in, hey, they're not going away.
Yeah.
So
Might as well live with
might
it.
as well live with it. But also, I mean, starting to get the respect of them and stuff that you know, because we've gone about things as you mentioned, Lance, differently than a lot of bands. We're very, very, as much as we're all easygoing guys, but we take things pretty seriously.
Yeah.
And some people like that, some people don't. I mean, Nova Scotia is also a party province, right? People like to party, people like to drink, and we're not the band who, you know, we're not going to go back to the hotel and do cocaine with you. Sorry. We're just not it.
I'm
right?
too poor for that.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, it depends on if you know a guy.
Yeah.
But so those kinds of, some of the places where you make those kind of social connections and stuff, we've never been a part of. And so we've kind of had to make our own way for a long time. But it's certainly nice to see that people are starting to come around, and hopefully with this new song and stuff, people kind of can listen to it and go, oh, okay, I get it now. And if they don't, screw you.
Yeah.
I don't care.
They don't. Who cares?
We'll just keep going. We're not playing it. Something that we've talked about lots is that we're not playing music for the musical community. We're playing music for our fans.
Yeah.
Right? The people who like listening to us. We got fans, we're lucky enough to have people like you, Emily, in the UK who love our music and play us all the time. And hopefully some of your listeners love listening to our music. You guys are the guys who we're writing for and playing for. Haters gonna hate. I don't really
I come at it from a different angle. I never really gave too much thought to what people thought of me after a certain point in my life.
Yeah.
And that hasn't really changed. I mean, I can only speak for myself. I conduct myself the best as I can. I sing as best as I can. Mm-hmm. I would put us amongst definitely the hardest working and one of the better playing bands, but being number one, being this, that, or the other thing doesn't really matter to me.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's, if the audience is satisfied, people have fun, and it's a great performance, and, everything works out in that kind of way, then that's really what I care about. If I have the respect of others in the scene, great. If I don't, I'm not going to lose sleep over it.
Yeah, it is what it is. Okay, so this is a question for you, John.
All right.
Specifically because we know you know the story. So, craziest thing that's happened to us on the road.
Well,
I wasn't there for this.
Craziest things that happened to us on the road that I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's fair.
There are some things that I'm saving for the book.
Yeah.
The book.
The retirement book.
The retirement book, Dali Van Gogh, The Truth
All
Behind the
access
Art.
pass.
The all access.
Yeah.
All access pass. No.
That would be so boring.
Well, let's see.
Not on my
For
end.
now.
For now, yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to go into stories like that involve like a lot of other bands and things like that. Honestly, I'm not really interested in throwing any shade. You throw enough shade away, you're going to get sunburned eventually.
Yeah.
As they call it. But I remember a few experiences. Number one, we had a gig at this place called the Bovine Sex Club, and this is I learned a few interesting lessons on this day. So the Bovine Sex Club is a wonderful venue, and if you're ever in Toronto, you should definitely check it out. If you're
It's so
rock and
cool.
roll or like
If you're into
Dirty Blue.
alt culture at all.
alt culture at all or anything like that, definitely check the place out. Wonderful staff, wonderful atmosphere. I had this was my first tour, and I was not trained in a lot of little tips and things like that. One of which, as a singer, is don't eat spicy food right before a show. I had that jerk chicken.
Yes, I remember.
And oh my gosh, my throat was burning that whole time. I didn't have the right kind of like ways to resolve that kind of thing or treat yourself.
It's not like you can
Exercises
drink
to do.
milk before you go on stage either.
No, that's true.
Yeah, no, milk's a terrible idea, kids. Never drink milk before singing. Or eat peanut butter.
Yeah, well, that too. Yeah. Can you imagine?
No, it'd be just terrible. Freaking terrible. And I remember, my throat burning. I had some family over. I'm really trying to do this really well. And the opening act starts, and this drummer. I don't know what the deal with this guy was, but I guess he was a substitute drummer. He ended up having some type of he passed out on his drums, fell over. Mid-song. We had to help him out there, so that was an interesting night.
He fell clean off the drum kit mid-song, out cold on the floor.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. The band was pretty good. That was the worst part.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, damn, they're done? Shoot, I like them.
That wasn't my ex, was it?
No.
No. I don't even recall the name of that guy, but
No, neither do I.
Yeah, that was a thing. But as far as like actual crazy stories, okay. So I remember, and you weren't actually here for this.
No.
So I was with our roadie Ethan and our bass player at the time Cyrus, and we were going around Toronto. This was the same day, actually. We were looking for a gluten-free place where I could get a decent lunch. Because if you have allergies and stuff like that, sometimes when you're on the road, getting good nutrition can be hard. But we came out of a Starbucks, and we walked into a fight between these two homeless people. There was a big crowd around it. Everyone was verbally, including us, telling them to stop fighting and leave the old guy alone. It was like this one guy who looked like he was, bigger guy in his like late 40s versus some old guy who looked like he was in his late 60s. So it wasn't exactly what you'd call an even fight. And then the guy tried to pick a fight with us, and that was interesting. I didn't really feel like doing a 3-on-1 fight against a homeless person. Personally, that's not exactly great PR, to say the least.
No, see, two of you fight him while one person hands out flyers.
Yeah.
Right? We got a gig tonight.
Yeah. So I was like, okay.
That would definitely have been Ethan.
So after that crazy day of guy passing out, getting drunk and all sorts of other stuff, I'm like, okay, next tour, I'm going to be much more careful and much more safety conscious, which brings me to the last story I'm going to tell about this and everything like that, because I'm going to try to keep I could go on for days about crazy stories, but on the air, I'll tell these two for now. So it was our last gig of the tour, and we were finishing it off at, what was the name of that place in Toronto?
The gig in Toronto? Or
in Toronto, second tour, our last tour. It was in Toronto. It was right before Canada Day. The day before Canada Day.
You don't mean the Hideout?
No, it wasn't the Hideout. The Hideout was our first Toronto stop there. By the way, shout out to the Hideout. Great location.
No, we didn't play the Horseshoe that one. Right before Canada Day, we didn't play in Toronto, did we?
Yes, we did. We played a gig in Toronto right before Canada Day. Okay.
I'll look it up.
Anyway.
While he's looking that up.
Yeah.
While he's looking that up. So I have a rule. I do not do any type of recreational alcohol, substance, or anything like that before gigs or anything like that. I try to discipline myself and, make sure that I'm not compromising the show or anything like that. But at the end of the tour, or at the end of shows, back when I drank often, oftentimes I would like to, blow off some steam, and we had, a bunch of reasons to celebrate.
The Hard Luck Bar? Is that it?
Yeah, the Hard Luck Bar. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I know where the story's going.
Yeah.
I forgot about this place.
We all decided to really, really, really celebrate. I'm not going to go into a ton of details, but we ended up partying at a vintage 1960s Rolling Stones club.
This is that night.
Yeah, that night. And I drank, I want to say, probably about 7 doubles of rum and coke.
Yeah.
With having eaten a cucumber within 8 hours. On one of the hottest days of the year, spending most of my time walking around in jeans, leather jacket, in downtown Toronto. So the next day, we're all going to Niagara Falls for Canada Day, which was a very...
Which, by the way, I do not recommend.
It was a cluster beep.
It was bad.
It was bad.
3 million people in the space of like a square mile.
Now,
insane.
we ended up having the ride I was in had a much better parking and overall sightseeing experience. But before that, I did almost die of alcohol poisoning and heat stroke.
Yeah.
But I'm one of those guys, I'm gung-ho. If I, have a broken foot or something, I'm good. So they're like, okay, do we need to take it? So I was basically faking not dying for half a day. So that was
lovely.
That was a lovely, fun story. So eat more than just cucumber when you decide to like drink all the booze at the end of a tour.
There you go. Okay, so that was the...
I'm sorry, I'm a boring hard rock singer, guys. I don't have any crazier stories than that I will tell right now.
Did we already do, if you could go on tour, who would it be?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So
we were talking about Motley Crue.
Yeah, she's got that question in here twice.
Yeah.
I mean, of any person in time, my answer would have been
so this is for everybody. So what's everybody do in their interests when we're not doing the band? Who wants to go first?
Like, what do we do in our spare time?
Yeah. We don't really have spare time.
Spare time?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, I work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. Over quarantine, I accidentally accidentally got addicted to TikTok. So
Same.
that happened, and
me and John
I don't want to quit.
Just judging you.
It's
Only with my eyes. Only with my eyes.
I play a lot of video games. I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty lately, and they just announced the next one yesterday. The new. They announced.
There's a Modern Warfare Part 85.
No, it's Cold War. It's a direct sequel to Black Ops.
Actually, that might be cool.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Nixon's in it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that is what consumes a lot of my evening. Play some sports, play some rec league sports with my friends from high school and from my old job and stuff. But yeah, most of it is just work. I work 5 days a week and the 2 days off. Like, you guys all work Monday to Friday. My weekend is Tuesday and Thursday. I don't work Tuesdays and Thursdays because we have band practice. I work the other 5 days of the week.
Cool.
Yeah.
What about you, John?
Well, I
starts picking fights with homeless people.
Hey, look, man. I mean, no. You got it all wrong. Homeless people pick fights with me, and that was not the first time.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I can believe that.
Yeah, man. I've had some weird experiences there.
Yeah, hobbies and stuff.
Hobbies and everything. Well, pre-pandemic, did a lot of open mics. Still like to go into karaoke, even just to hear people who I like hearing people who can sing but don't do this for a living. People who are just singing for the heck of it and the joy of it. There's a different experience when you're at an open mic and some shy people are coming in there and you have some person who some might describe as a wallflower who starts to sing, and you get that kind of almost American Idol reaction of oh my god, what am I listening to right now? I love seeing that. I have a friend named Michelle. Pipes, yeah. Anytime Pipes goes up to sing, people get this expectation of what they're going to hear. And then she completely blows them away, and the facial expressions are just so amazing.
Pipes is unreal.
Yeah.
There's a reason we call her Pipes.
Yeah, there is a reason.
I wonder how she got that name.
Yeah.
So there was a lot. I went to the movies a lot. I don't like watching. I have to nowadays, and I would watch a lot of TV beforehand, when I was younger, but I don't. I like watching movies in a movie theater. There's just something about the cinema experience that I just love. Lately, I just finished Ghosts of Tsushima, which is a PS4 exclusive game. Really awesome. And I've been playing a bunch of Dead by Daylight lately. I like horror movies, so horror games I'm kind of into, as long as they're a certain type of horror game and the pacing is not something where they force you to play at a certain pace. And aside from that, reading and some slight online activism for what I have time for.
Right.
Totally. Yeah, that's what consumes my time.
Yeah.
Besides work.
Similar to John, I'm definitely a cinephile. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of options right now when it comes to going to theaters, but that seems to be slowly changing. But previously to that, I used to go to movies a lot. And we had a tradition of going to see Star Wars as a band.
Aside from Solo, we didn't do Solo.
We didn't do Solo, and we didn't do Rise of Skywalker because it was trailer trash.
Okay. Cut his mic.
Yeah. I mean, something you guys over in the UK will appreciate far more than people over here appreciate. I'm a competitive table tennis player. I competed and was on the Canadian national team as a junior. Trained with Paul Drinkhall, who I believe is still on your senior national team. So hi, Paul, if somehow you end up listening to this. Hi from Isaac Kent and Ian Kent. So I do that. If I have spare time, that takes up a lot of time. I also collect Star Wars Lego in a very big way. We're sitting in a room here, and there's a giant mountain of stuff I've got to put together sitting across from us, because unfortunately I haven't had the time. Especially with the everything with the single and stuff, I haven't had the time to do anything. Every single time I sit down to do something else, within 15 minutes, I'm feeling guilty and I end up working. That's true. It's honest.
Yeah.
I've seen that a lot. It's only the very end of the night before I'm about to go to bed that I go, okay, I'm done working. I need to go watch some dumb, crazy videos on YouTube. And
it's like, I'm just going to do this for a few minutes and then go to bed at a reasonable time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he actually manages to achieve that. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to play this thing.
I've trained myself now, man. It's like Pavlov's dog. 4 videos in, I'm done. I go to bed.
I'm way more chaotic than you, though. Yeah. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to play this, so I can put this down, and then 5 hours later, it's like, crap.
No, yeah, I'm like, oh, it's 3 a.m.
I used to be that guy. Yeah. I was that guy really hardcore before the fire. I was at that time I didn't even have a day job. I was doing the record label full time. So I was at work 16 to 19 hours out of the day kind of guy. Most of that I developed knee problems at one point because I wasn't getting out of the chair. Because I was just constantly working. So I had to start setting a timer to get up and walk around. And I wouldn't eat and things like that. Just because I would get into, I don't know, it was almost like a trance. You just go. And you're doing promo stuff, or you're sending emails,
yeah,
or
you just
mixing,
forget about
or whatever.
What time it is.
Yeah, it just goes. But I used to be able to do that. Now, since the fire, I find I burn out a lot easier. I don't know if that's like a stress thing from the fire or an anxiety thing or whatever. But I certainly hit brick walls. So now I actively make sure that I don't.
Well, to kind of put this in a bit of a almost serious track for a second, once you go for almost a near-death experience or an actual near-death
experience.
It changes things. It changes the way you think about things and the way your brain just generally works.
Yep, totally.
It's it's just kind of an adaptability thing. I will mention one last thing. Isaac and I both run Dungeons and Dragons on occasion.
Yeah,
yes, that is true.
Play D&D as well.
We are all
we're trying to get Rochelle and Johnny into it, but yes, we're D&D nerds over here.
We'll go do our own thing.
Well, you guys go do your own thing. We got to do this. I mean, John's even been lucky enough on one of our tours. They were playing D&D while they were driving in the car.
Yeah, that was Jed was running.
But yes, definitely role players.
It was great
for sure.
Yeah.
When we have time, because we haven't had any time.
All right, let's not spend the whole. We could talk about D&D all night.
I'm gonna leave.
Okay, so this is kind of a two-part question, but it's a question for Rochelle and then probably John, because Rochelle hasn't gotten to get on the road with us too much in the last year, partly because of COVID and stuff. But it's, what would you consider to be the worst thing you could possibly forget on a tour? Obviously, I assume that doesn't count instruments.
I was going to say, the easy
answer
to that is
what is the worst thing you could forget to bring? And then what is the worst thing you have forgotten?
Oh, I thought you meant on stage.
No, on tour,
to
take on the road.
Lyrics.
Yeah. No, like an item or whatever to take on the road.
I once forgot shoes.
When we went on the road?
We went to PEI.
And you didn't bring shoes? When did that happen? I don't remember that.
You're like, wait, what?
It was last summer.
You played in bare feet?
No, I had socks on.
Oh, man.
Got in the car.
How do you get in the car without shoes?
I had sandals. I was wearing a different outfit. I was wearing sandals and shorts or something to
That's a great answer.
there because it was really hot. But I forgot my Doc Martens.
Yeah.
So then I got to the venue and I got changed.
And you were like,
and I put on, I had pantyhose on, and then I put on my knee-high socks, and then I realized I had no boots. So I just wore my sock feet, or when I had to walk around, I had socks and sandals.
Amazing. I figured Rochelle wouldn't even have an item that she forgot. She's usually really organized.
I don't know how I forgot my shoes.
Shoes?
I didn't even realize till we got there.
I am one of those people that we didn't get the tour this year, but I have a plan, and there will be at least 2 of everything.
Yeah, and you
like
check
when I
it,
go
yeah.
on tour, like there's like at least 2 pairs of shoes coming with me, 2 guitars are coming with me. Like I'm bringing, like I have a parts thing done up, and I'm bringing a soldering iron when we go on tour and tours and shit. Like I'm one of these people that it's like nothing will go wrong.
Well, I'm the kind of person usually like. If I'm going somewhere during the day, it's not so bad. But if I'm going somewhere overnight, I will pack like 5 pairs of underwear.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, because you never know.
You never know.
See, on the opposite end of the spectrum, I'm the guy who tries to travel with a little tiny briefcase thing. Right. Like that tiny little bag that was kicking around here, Rochelle. That's what I tend to take for clothes on tour, and I just wash my clothes on the regular.
You can fit everything in there with the KonMari method. Yeah,
potentially.
What?
The worst thing I've ever forgotten on tour. I mean, I've got a standing file on my computer called "Do Not Forget" that I open before I go anywhere. So nothing of real serious note, I don't think.
Not speaking from anything I've forgotten, but something other people I've been on tour with have forgotten. I'm not going to name names. Changing up a fresh pair of socks, like other spare socks. If you don't get like laundry stops, bring spare socks.
Oh yeah,
well,
your bandmates will your bandmates will thank you.
Yeah, see that's the thing. If you go on tour outside of like, as long as we bring guitars, drum, as long as we bring our instruments and like some clothes, everything. If you forget something, you can just go get it. Like nothing is that detrimental that like if we forget like patch cables and strings, we just go pick them up.
Well, even instruments, frankly, you can go to a Long McQuaid in one of those cities and rent one, and then you can return it in the city you're in. There's a lot of ways to get around stuff.
I think personal advice.
Shoes is a good one.
Shoes is a good one.
Personal advice being serious. If you're a person with like dietary allergies and everything like that, making sure you have something that you can just pick up and eat. And, like, for long gaps where you might be in an area where, I don't know, you might not speak the local language. Restaurants might not be open at a certain point, or supermarkets might not be open at a certain point. You might have situations where you can only eat convenience store food. Having something, like, nutritious that's, like, gonna hold out for a few days and not, like, just turn to melt in your car or go bad, very important.
That's actually a good point, yeah. That's more of a, like, you two issue now.
Yeah.
More John,
mostly
but
me.
less.
Yeah.
Mostly
a little bit. For me, it's. I mean, you've got some real allergies. I've just got an issue, like an actual condition that I have to be careful with, but nothing super serious.
Yeah, you can get away with some things, he can't.
Yeah, I mean, today, like, I ate totally off the diet. And
yes, some diets you can cheat on, others are a very vengeful mistress.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so next question. This is, again, one kind of for everybody. Favorite song you've written or been a part of writing in the band?
Oh, fuck.
Boneyard.
Yeah, it's hard, right? Boneyard for you?
Because I wasn't there for the writing process for Under Her Spell, particularly. I got there at the very end when we hit the
I suppose. I'm not this is like the first writing stuff for, and probably Johnny too.
Yeah.
No, Johnny got to we.
Johnny was very involved with.
Yeah, but the songs were finished.
No, they weren't.
Oh, okay.
No, they were. We had rough demos of everything.
Yeah, there were some songs that we
tracked the
basically
whole thing
did.
from the beginning.
There were some songs we like created and recorded within like weeks.
Yeah.
Honestly, Boots and Marston come to mind.
Brand new. We're brand new.
Brand
didn't
new.
exist before Johnny.
Yeah.
No, he was involved in that for sure.
Yeah,
there was only
involved.
3 or 4 that like had completed arrangements and everything.
Right.
The rest of it was like we knew what the material we were using was.
Right.
And like these are the songs, and we had to put them together.
Yeah. I guess I'm not the only one who hasn't written anything with the band yet.
Yeah, but so Boneyard for you.
Just haven't
Boneyard
published
for
it yet.
you. Well, there's other stuff though, because you guys you were around for the writing of Little Hell.
Yes, but I like Boneyard.
Yeah.
It's still Boneyard.
And it came together so organically that it's just.
I don't disagree. What about you, John?
Well, that's a tough one for me. I mean, Dark Passenger will always have like a little bit of a special place in my heart, just because it was like, the first baby that was like really turned out like, oh my gosh, I actually could like do this stuff. Long Way from Heaven is probably the song I'm most proud of, as far as like lyrically and just like how it comes across, I guess. But I'm very, very proud of Boneyard. God help me. No, you're telling me. It's like asking me how to pick my favorite kid.
Outside Looking In?
No, I'm just kidding. Outside's not my favorite kid. It's definitely the favorite overall, I'd say. But A Long Way from Heaven probably for me would be...
in my opinion, it's the best thing you've written.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, for sure. Because it's, I mean, look, don't get me wrong, Boneyard's amazing, but it's not lyrically super complex or anything like that. It's a hooky pop song, which is really good. But Long Way from Heaven's a whole other beast.
I wouldn't say pop, rock song. Hard rock song.
No, but the hooks are very pop.
Yeah, but Long Way from Heaven is a...
Long Way from Heaven is, like, complex.
It's a very... it's complex. It's meant to hit different types of emotional chords, I guess you could say. And
not to mention, it's nearly twice the length.
Twice the length, yeah. But, I'd say, like, that would be it for me.
For me, without question, it's Heavy Living. For a whole bunch of reasons. I mean, not the least of which, it's the first song that I wrote that I knew was going to be for Dali. I wrote it while I was still in that band, 8 Days to Saturday with Rochelle, knowing that it would never work with that style of band. And that's part of what had the fallout. Rochelle didn't know that I had this song, but, I mean, part of the fallout was me going, hey, we should do this hard rock thing, and you not wanting to do it, if I remember correctly, right?
No, I just didn't want to do anything with you.
Well, okay, well, then there you go. So there was that. But I wrote the song, all the way back then, 10 years ago or whatever it was, with Rochelle's vocals in mind, and it took until Rochelle got in the band to finally get to hear her sing it. And what's really funny is we weren't even going to do that. It was John's idea to say, hey, what about Rochelle does this song? We were going to track it with Rochelle for this. We put out a specialized version of it because it was the 10-year anniversary of the song and kind of 10 years of the band. So if you check out on our website, under our story, there's a tab that says 10 Years of Heavy Living, and it's got various versions of the songs over the last 10 years.
Yeah, there's like half a dozen at least.
There's 10 plus the new one.
Is there 10?
Yep, with various different singers. We've got audition tapes, we've got live versions, there's an acoustic version. But it's the song that has stuck with the band, no matter what we've been doing or what's been going on. That song has kind of epitomized the sound of the band.
Yeah, it's always kind of been like the framework of like everything still kind of follows that kind of framework.
Absolutely. And so, but it's a whole special place because I finally, last year, got to hear Rochelle do the song kind of the way I had it, how I wrote it in my head all the way back then. And when I first wrote it, I wrote it with a tablature program. I couldn't play it. I wasn't good enough to play the song yet. So it's the song I forced myself to get better to learn and stuff. So that's certainly my personal favorite tune in among the band. I mean, the other one that comes up a lot is Soul Food, which is kind of...
That's easily it's always been like one of my favorite ones to perform. It's just a real...
So much energy.
Yeah,
energetic song.
It's a high energy, punchy song.
No turning back, don't you waste us, I'm praying.